Well, that is how the Nairobi city center looked like moments ago. People are rushing to bar the 8 p.m. curfew that was reviewed yesterday by President Uhuru Kenyatta. And I shall be talking to my colleague David Mudoka, who is monitoring the curfew in the city. Before that, here are the day's top stories.
We're in the news tonight. The government opens a transition window to allow people willing to travel out of the zone counties to do so by Sunday 8 p.m. Also tonight, commuters and drivers stranded as blockades erected by GSU officers to stop movement of people in and out of the zoned counties. Plus, even after recording more than double the deaths recorded from COVID-19, tuberculosis has been relegated to the back burner, fueling fears of a TB crisis. And tonight we tell you of a blind man who produces music beats like no others.
Well, good evening and welcome to Saturday Night Live. My name is Linda Alela. My sign language interpreter tonight is Minnie Bessa. Welcome to the broadcast. We have, like I said earlier on, our reporter David Mudoka on standby. He's in Eastleigh right now, and it was a mad rush in Nairobi moments ago as people literally ran to be the 8 p.m. curfew announced by President Uhuru Kenyatta. Our reporter David Mudoka witnessed the mayhem and now reports live from Eastleigh.
Well, a good evening to you, Linda Alela. It is indeed exactly an hour since the start of curfew in Nairobi County, as well as other 4 counties that were yesterday categorized as one zoned area or red counties by President Uhuru Kenyatta due to the fact that these counties have been reporting huge, large, and increasing numbers of COVID-19 infections. And here, as well as those 4 counties, curfew today and for the next number of days until President Uhuru Kenyatta issues other curfew directives. Curfew is set to be starting at 8 p.m. exactly until 4 a.m. in the morning. Linda, I am coming to you live indeed, as you mentioned, from Eastleigh's First Avenue, where actually behind me, police officers in plain clothes are manning a roadblock, ensuring or rather enforcing the curfew that began an hour and a few minutes ago. We have seen locals here engage these particular men in blue in running battles, and actually that has been happening for the past few minutes here. And on my right-hand side, just a few minutes ago, a number of youth, up to 50 of them, had been rounded up by these particular police officers and were sitting there, of course, as a punishment of being outside past 8 p.m. That has been the story of Eastleigh for the past minutes, as police officers engage these particular locals in running battles in enforcing the 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. curfew in Nairobi, as well as other 4 counties, Linda, as I mentioned, including Nakuru, Kajiado, as well as Kiambu and Machakos, Linda. That has been it. And Linda, before we came here, we were at the Nairobi CBD, where also police officers were having a hard time enforcing that particular curfew that began today, because perhaps there could be reasons, but as we could, when we spoke to residents or people in Nairobi who are busy trying to get home, the mood is that they are not as much as pro these particular changes in the curfew. They feel that this curfew is hurting them, because many say that businesses at that particular time, that is when they are usually on overdrive. That is usually the case, so they are not a happy lot, and perhaps they think that the president, and that is President Uhuru Kenyatta, needs to make some changes, needs to make some amendments. But again, the story of Eastleigh, besides the running battles, this is not the Eastleigh of earlier days, because at this particular time, this is an estate that usually is buzzing with activity, literally. Because Linda, even someone would joke that you will step on another person's shoe while walking around this particular place, because it is usually a place busy, people selling outside their shops, inside their shops. But at this particular time, almost all shops are closed, meaning that a huge number, save for the few who were rounded up a few minutes ago before they were released, is inside their homes trying to obey the new changes in the curfew. That has been the story of Eastleigh, and of course we are monitoring this particular situation. Police officers who are behind me a few minutes ago have just left, perhaps to enforce this curfew in other areas where they feel Kenyans are actually dropping their guard. But indeed, that has been the story of Eastleigh. We are monitoring the situation here. On behalf of my camera person, Noreen Mombi, I am David Mudhoka. Back to you, Linda, in studio.
Thank you so much, David Mudhoka, for the updates. Evidently, a deserted Eastleigh as to what we are used to and technically what is happening across these zoned regions. Now, we move forward, and the government has announced a curfew and lockdown transition period of until tomorrow, 8 p.m. for travelers to move in and out of 5 zone counties of Nairobi, Kiambu, Machakos, Nakuru, and Kajiado. However, movement of persons will not be restricted between Nairobi, Kiambu, Machakos, Nakuru, and Kajiado, but movement will be restricted from the surrounding areas into these zone counties after the transition window is over. Daniel Masiza reports.
Clarifying the COVID-19 measures enumerated in the Public Order Number 2 of 2021 issued by President Uhuru Kenyatta yesterday, the government spokesman Cyrus Oguna also announced a transition period of until Monday next week at midday for those traveling by air and the standard gauge railway.
And therefore, if there is somebody who is in Eldoret and wishes to move to Nairobi, he should be here by tomorrow curfew time. If anybody is in Nairobi and wishes to move to Mombasa, he should also be able to move between now and tomorrow curfew time. I think that is very clear. That applies to any movement of anyone who was caught unawares and has to travel back or travel out of the containment, on the zoned area.
On the other hand, those who want to travel to Nairobi for specialized treatment must produce a referral letter and obtain clearance from the nearest police commander, whilst transportation of caskets must be cleared by a nearby area police commander.
I know they will be concerned, certainly, about some of our people who come to largely Nairobi for specialized treatment. Now, such cases will be handled case by case.
Oguna also explained that the new regulations will not apply to companies with employees working in shifts in order to keep the economy running.
We're also aware that there are companies that have got employees that work in shifts, 2 shifts. There are those who work during the day, and there are those who come in the evening. There are companies of that kind. There are also construction activities that also have got employees that are on double shifts. Now, for them, these new regulations do not apply to them.
While the domestic flights will be suspended indefinitely from Monday next week, international flights will continue operating as usual. However, those traveling into the country must abide by COVID-19 regulations by first producing a COVID-19 negative certificate obtained 96 hours before travel. The government also clarified that tourists who had already booked tickets to travel into the country are free to do so, but will have to hire private planes upon clearance by the Kenya Civil Aviation to connect to their destinations.
Provision that you can be able to travel into the country, hire a plane upon clearance by the Kenya Civil Aviation.
Oguna also reiterated that sporting activities will remain suspended until further notice. Daniel Masiza, TV47.
Well, we'll still have more on matters COVID-19 and the restrictions, but first let's get into the world of politics. And the political class has elicited mixed reactions on the directive by President Uhuru Kenyatta to suspend physical parliament sittings ahead of debate and passing of the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020, that is to pave way for referendum in June this year. Parliament is expected to sit next week on Tuesday to consider the directive by the President as per standing orders, with a lot expected to pan out, including the budget making process and the BBI Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020.
The BBI roadmap might be disrupted if Parliament will decide to alter its calendar on Tuesday next week, where it is expected to consider President Uhuru Kenyatta's directive to suspend all ordinary physical sittings. Uhuru's directive eliciting mixed reactions within political circles on the fate of the BBI ahead of referendum slated for June this year, a move which has been criticized by some members of Parliament who say the decision was not well thought.
But we have to adjust how quickly we want to deal with it. In the thinking of those in Parliament, there was the thought that it would have been processed within 21 days, maybe within a month, latest. I still see that as a possible scenario, because one, Parliament can adjust its sitting to be able to conform with the COVID protocols as advised by perhaps the Ministry of Health. In the alternative, Parliament can have fewer sittings and maybe special sittings to deal with the BBI, but also crucially to deal with the issues of budget.
The proponents of BBI say the Constitutional Amendment Bill can be passed in Parliament within the remaining time. So a member of Parliament, Caleb Kositani, says the fate of BBI is not well determined and now is between a rock and a hard surface if the BBI roadmap is anything to go by.
The very tricky time was before it was processed by the county assemblies. After the county assemblies, everything else is an issue of management. You manage the time. Once we process it in Parliament, it goes to the President, and it can land on his desk in the morning, and he signs it in the morning. In the afternoon, it will be the IBC. So what I think IBC should be doing, and what I would expect them to be doing, is to already be in motion. What do we need? Timelines. What kind of administrative actions do they need to take?
Joint Justice and Legal Affairs Committee is expected to give a report by Wednesday next week. At the moment, the committee ironing out various issues raised during public participation exercise and pondering on the issue of amending the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020.
So to the general public, we will try and burn the midnight oil to see if we can finalize the writing of the report, God willing, by latest Wednesday next week. That is the timelines we are working with as a committee, so that we release this report to the next stage.
Whether the lockdown was intended to tame political formations is suspended, the BBI drive is just a matter of wait and see. Elizabeth Motuko, TV47 Nairobi.
Well, that very story by Elizabeth Mutuku now takes us for a quick break. We still have more coming your way, so make sure that you keep it right here. I'll be right back after this short break.
of Untold Stories.
Tamasha Paints, rangi ambayo imeimarika, rangi ya kipekee. Tamasha Paints ni kampuni ya kimataifa ya kuuza aina zozote za rangi ambazo zimechanganywa na teknolojia ya kisasa. Tunakuletea rangi aina ya Cover Matte, Silk Vinyl, Vinyl Matte, Weather Guard, Super Gloss na High Gloss. Pia tuna mafunzo ya kutengeneza rangi zilizopita mafunzo ya kimataifa. Tunafunza kutoka mwanzo hadi mwisho kwa muda wa miezi 2. Shule yetu ina vyumba vya malazi kwa malipo ya shilingi 40 pekee. Tunapatia wanafunzi wetu cheti inayotambulika kote nchini, kuwatafutia attachment na kuwapatia kazi wanapomaliza masomo. Tunakuuzia mashini ya kutengeneza rangi na kemikali za hali ya juu kwa bei nafuu. Kwa maelezo zaidi tutembelee Kangundo Road, Choka area karibu na stage ya Hurlingham, ama uwasiliane nasi kupitia 0712 222 893. Rangi si rangi, rangi ni Tamasha Paints.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari. You are watching TV47, the home of Untold Stories.
Well, thank you so much for keeping it Saturday Night Live. We come back with some more stories, but this time round, starting on a somber note, and veteran journalist Robin Njogu has been laid to rest at his home in Kitale, Trans Nzoia County, in a somber send-off that was attended by family members and close friends. Njogu passed away on Monday last week after succumbing to COVID-19 complications while receiving treatment at the Aga Khan Hospital. The Radio Citizen managing editor has been eulogized as a people's person and a great mentor, and is survived by his wife Carol Njogu and 3 children. The burial comes barely a week after Njogu's mother Teresia Njogu was buried in the same compound last Saturday.
Robin, at God's time you rested. You gave me your all, Robin. You gave me love, pure love, real love, beautiful love. You gave me 3 amazing humans. The 5 of us were perfect. Now we are just the 4 of us. Even then, we have memories to keep us going. You wanted the best for us, for our children. You already picked out the schools you want them to attend. You already discussed with them how you want them to live. Thank you. Thank you for planning ahead. I will take it up from here.
May Njogu's soul rest in eternal peace. Now, as COVID-19 continues to ravage the country, patients with other killer infections such as TB feel left out, with the spotlight being on coronavirus. And as Zainab Mohammed now reports, the effects of the pandemic go deeper than just overshadowing, with statistics from the Division of National Tuberculosis, Leprosy and Lung Disease Program showing a huge decrease in TB cases last year as compared to the previous years.
Deep in the heart of deep sea slums in Parklands area, we find 37-year-old Caroline Ajuang in her house going about her daily chores. From a distance, Caroline looks healthy and fine, but Caro, as she's commonly known in the area, is a tuberculosis patient. She tells me how she moved from one hospital to another month after month before finding out what truly ailed her.
Nilikuwa naenda huko kupimwa kama hii ugonjwa kubwa sio hiyo. Ugonjwa ingine yani yoyote, arthritis sio hiyo. Yani ugonjwa yote sio hiyo. Sasa nikarudi nikatulia bado kabla niende Westland. Nikatulia kabla bado niende Westland, nikarudi nikaenda hapa kwa father. Nikapimwa, sio hiyo tumepimwa ya TB. Baadaye wakanipima hizo vitu zote, wakashindwa ni gani sasa. Nikapewa madawa. Sasa nilikuwa nakunywa tu dawa ile kitu hakuna. Na ni TB tu inanimaliza na sijui.
According to her, the diagnosis changed her life completely.
Imeniadhiri vibaya. So unaona imefanya hata mwili yangu imebadilika. Sasa juu si kuanga hivyo. Sasa mwili yangu imebadilika, hata kazi unaona sasa siendi kazi, niko tu hivyo. Niko tu hivi venye unaniona zinakaa tu nimalizane na hizo madawa, baadaye nikisikia vizuri ndio nitapata kibarua kidogo ndio nifanye.
Moving her from being her family's breadwinner to now a stay-at-home mom, many of her relatives, friends and neighbors stigmatizing her due to TB.
Jirani naye obvious hiyo ni lazima. Wakione mwili yako si ile vile, sasa hata si wanaweza kukuchukua kama TB. Hao wanachukua ni ugonjwa kubwa. Kuchukui kama ni TB. Juu unajua TB na hiyo ugonjwa kubwa unaona zinamalizanga mwili na change. Sasa najua hao wanajua hivyo. Hawajui kama ni TB. Sasa yule ananibagua, simbague, sasa hapo atanisaidia na nini? Mimi nitakaa na wale wenye hawanibagui, wenye wanajua venye niko.
Karo suspects she got TB from her drinking sprees.
Nilikuwa nakunywa pombe. Sasa iliingia through hiyo juu saa zingine unaweza pata mtu amewekewa na hiyo glass, na saa zingine unaweza pata ni mtu mwenye atumiangi dawa. Na hii mambo ya unajua kwa club si kuna masigara, watu wanavuta masigara hivi. Sasa hapo ndio nilipatia hapo.
However, she's not alone in the fight against the silent killer. In the other side of the slums, 17-year-old Rose Kaleche understands all too well what battling TB means.
I got TB from 2019 August. That's when I discovered that I had TB.
Similar to Karo, Kaleche suffered various instances of misdiagnosis before finding out she had TB.
It took almost, let's say, 1 month before I discovered I had TB. I was in school that time, boarding school, just having normal coughs, headaches, then tiresome. Then all of a sudden, I went to the school clinic. Then I was just given antibiotics because they did not know what I had. Just getting sick each day, worse and worse and worse. So I just stayed in school I started coughing, heavy sweating during the night, just dizziness during the day. Yeah, and nobody knew, even me, I did not know.
Kaleche, who got TB while still in school, says that together with her classmate, they suspect they got TB from one of the students in school.
I got it in school. Yeah, because my desk mate she just got sick all of a sudden. Then her parents came for her and she was told that she could not continue with school because she had the condition.
Unlike it is for many TB patients, Kaleche suffered stigmatization, an experience she says almost drove her into depression.
For my friends in school, they were just like, don't come near us. We just don't want you near us. Yeah. All the time when I'm around them, they're just like, just stay like few meters away from us. Yeah. Not sharing things with them. It was just not acceptable to them.
1 year later, she is a changed person after undergoing the challenges of battling TB.
Experience has changed in everything, because before I got TB, I wanted to be a neurosurgeon. But now, after going through it and knowing all people around me, it has affected me in that my dream is now after I finish school, I just want to join hands with my fellow Camila and work with TB so that we can eradicate this disease from people.
However, according to Kaleche, the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic affected her treatment. Fear of going to hospital became rife.
It was 3 days before I had finished my medicine. That's where Corona was announced that it was in Kenya. I was very scared. First of all, even I was scared of my mother coming at home because she works in the health center. Then she comes at home. I was like, Mom, first of all, you have to sanitize, do everything, because everybody was afraid of this pandemic.
These sentiments resonate with medical workers at the Westlands TB Health Facility. The sub-county head of laboratory in Westlands Sub-County, Margaret Mutunga, says in her over 30 years of experience, she has never seen dire effects in TB treatment, such as the ones caused by the COVID-19 pandemic.
TB testing went down. Starting with us ourselves, all the lab techs in Kenya refused to work on spitums. Initially, we all refused. All the lab techs, because we have forums. Everybody was scared, but we had a Zoom meeting for the whole of Kenya, the heads, the sub-county heads, and we were assured. So now we started testing again.
According to her, that led to a huge decrease in the number of TB infections recorded last year.
But the other problem was, now that is one thing that made testing go down. The other one was patients disappeared. We didn't have patients because we also chased them away. When they come here, they'll come and pick COVID from here. And everybody was so scared of COVID. They thought they were going to die. Also, the patients were not coming. So our numbers really went down.
Even though COVID-19 is the new kid on the block, experts insist that the government should not ignore other killer infections such as tuberculosis.
As really overshadowed, TB diagnosis, TB case finding, and still outcome of TB so much. Because they are almost the same, and COVID came with a very big stigma, more than TB. So people have tended to shy off from TB treatment because of COVID-19.
Data from the Division of National Tuberculosis, Leprosy and Lung Disease Program clearly showing the decrease in number of TB cases recorded in 2020 compared to the previous years. In 2020, the country recorded a total of 72,994 TB cases, 13,510 cases less as compared to the year 2019, where the country recorded a total of 86,504 TB cases. Further, according to the government's projection for the year 2019 to the year 2023, the country was expected to record a total number of 112,800 cases, 39,806 more cases recorded in the year 2020. The data also shows a higher prevalence of TB cases in men compared to women. In the year 2019, out of the total number of cases recorded countrywide, 55,601 cases were recorded among men, with only 30,229 cases recorded in women. Similar trends being reflected last year, with 47,915 cases being recorded in men vis-a-vis the 25,078 cases recorded in women. Data from the Division of National Tuberculosis, Leprosy and Lung Disease Program further showing TB killed a total of 5,353 people in the year 2019 alone, a huge number compared to the COVID-19 death tally of 2,098. Jemima Ayodi, a nurse at Westlands TB Health Facility, says fear of hospitals and the similarity in TB and COVID-19 symptoms also played a huge role in scaring patients away.
Kabla COVID-19 kuanza, wagonjwa walikuwa wanakuja hospitali kupimwa, kuchunguzwa kama wako na kifua kikuu. Lakini vile COVID-19 ilikuja, utapata wengi hawataki kuja kwa clinic, kwa hospitali, kwa sababu wanaogopa wataambiwa ya kwamba wako na corona badala ya kifua kikuu.
Hodi hapa. Habari yenu? Mnaendeleaje?
Camila Mwende, a community health worker, says the economical effects of COVID-19 have further derailed TB treatment, with job loss among patients leading to poor nutrition.
Waliweza kufutwa kazi, especially hawa wa Kinjinji, kwa sababu wengi wao wanafanya kazi za mikono, sana wanafanya kwa Wahindi. Mgonjwa ule ambaye pia anapata matibabu ya TB, kama hakuli vizuri, pia kinga inazidi kuwa chini. Na sana kama sasa akunywi mandawa, pia TB inazidi kuinuka na yeye anazidi kudhoofika zaidi.
However, experts say there is a silver lining with the onset of the COVID-19 containment measures, with the wearing of masks proving protection to people interacting with TB patients. For now, the prayer of Karo, Kaleche and all other patients of TB across the country is that the government increases efforts towards TB case findings and treatment, as current data shows the possibility of a huge increase in the number of cases by the end of this year.
The government's TB eradication goal that would have seen TB become a thing of the past appears to have been dealt a huge blow by the COVID-19 pandemic. And should the government continue to ignore this deadly scourge, that goal will remain nothing but a pipe dream. Zainab Mohammed, TV47, Nairobi.
Well, quite damning reports there. It's our hope that the necessary action is taken to save this situation. Thank you so much, Zainab, for that report. And it's now time that we take another break. We pay some bills. We'll be back with more.
TV47, the home of untold stories. At Trisent School of Medical Health, Science and Technology, we offer highly competitive courses tailor-made to suit your needs. These include certificate and diploma in theatre technology, medical engineering, nutrition and dietetics, radiography and sonography, science lab, health records, environmental health science, counseling psychology, applied biology, social work and community development, information and communication technology, among others. Register now at our Nairobi campus in Nairobi West around Nyayo National Stadium on 0700-129536. Our Juja campus next to Jomo Kenyatta University on 0700-000760. And our Kisumu campus opposite Swan Center, Oginga Odinga Street on 0703-201229. Trisent School of Medical Health, Science and Technology, where careers come to life. UIP Real Estate is here to end your search for land, because we have the ideal land just for you. Land that's close to the most anticipated Silicon Valley in Africa, Konza City. A prime location that is convenient to the modern lifestyle and has ticked off all the boxes of basic amenities. Worried about the distance? Our prime land is only a property that is within the Konza locality of Mombasa Road, 1.2 kilometers from Konza Isinya bypass, and also 500 meters from the proposed Nairobi-Mombasa Expressway. With the under construction of JKIA Westland Superhighway, this will shorten the distance by 1 hour fastway in, out and away from all the hustle and bustle of Nairobi City. Or should we call it Kanairo? What are you waiting for? Whether you are looking to buy and build or invest, book prime land with us now and be sure of high returns on your investment. Call us on 0708423244 or email us at info@uip.co.ke or visit our website www.uip.co.ke. UIP Real Estate, the home of affordable land.
Je, maumivu ya kichwa na kukosesha amani? Kaluma Strong hutuliza maumivu ya kichwa, maumivu ya mwili na hata huondoa joto jingi mwilini. Kaluma Strong ina aspirin kama kiungo. Maumivu yakizidi, muone daktari.
You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories.
Welcome back to TV47 Weekend. We still have more your way, and this is an interesting one coming, as music production by itself is an art that on top of the five senses demands an extra sixth sense. But in Mombasa, there lies a music producer who has for more than a decade kept the town entertained with his music production ability despite losing his eyesight while still a toddler. Julius Jumar tells the story of a king, or Ian Michapo, in the feature Singing in Darkness.
Ingekuwa bora angenambia kama mmetosheka nami kuliko kunikimbia na kuniachia mawazo.
In the words of reggae icon Bob Marley, when music hits you, you feel no pain.
Moyo ameuachia vidonda, nikimuwaza kutona konda, naishia kuhesabu kalenda.
And in those of Kingi Ian, music is blind.
Kama hii, very soon video itatoka.
A blind producer in the coastal town of Mombasa, Kingi, who has been christened Kingi Ian Michapo or Muzazi, has all but brought the region to life through his music.
Mimi nikuwa mtoto, nikuwa katika kule wenyewe wanaita ushago ama reserve. Kwa kuwa sisi ni Wagiriama na nyimbo, nafikiri it's a part of their culture. Sasa kuna ngoma ziko zapigwa kule, ziko aina nyingi tu, mabumbumbu, namba, gonda, hata za pepo. Sasa mimi nikuwa mpenzi wa hizo ngoma sana. Sijui kwa maybe it is inborn.
Alivoni chite kuite kimapenzi sawa, nilikosa gata wa kuenzi haya.
Space Q. Speech on demand.
Yes, Kingi is blind, but how does he manage this? Just how?
Music is blind, especially instrumental, wala piga instruments. Kawaida hutumii macho, hilo ni la kwanza. Lakini pia kulikuwa na ujio wa teknoloji mpya hizi, na haswa kompyuta. Kompyuta mara nyingi watu wanavyoelewa lazima utumie macho. Lakini kuna watu ambao tufikiria sisi ambao hatuoni, wakatengeza software. Hata unasikia hapo nyuma background inasema step sequencer, hiyo ni screen reader inaitwa JAWS. Hiyo mara nyingi unisaidia kule ambako nataka kumanuva na hakuna mtu wa kunisaidia kuona. Lakini pia hata hivyo kuna sehemu ambazo itabidi nipate msaidizi.
Items view multi-select list box. Nuts of boom player Calvin. One boom chat pair and D dash chick.
Unaona Josa ananisomea kule kila mahali.
List box. Items view multi.
Sasa natakwenda kwa FL.
Most used JAWS when FL Studio 10.
Na enter. Nasubiri kidogo iload. Wanachukua muda kidogo mpaka iji set vizuri.
Fruity limiter left parent master right parent.
Hapo ishafunguka.
Escape playlist escape.
Let's say leo nataka kufanya Baba Tengo.
Control O.
Nina
open dialogue file name :edit combo Alt+N.
Naandika Batengo.
Y.
Sorry.
Y T E. Batengo maneno.flp.
Ona kama Batengo maneno.
Enter.
Na enter.
Maneno.flp step sequencer.
Nasubiri load.
Escape space.
Asante.
Step sequencer. Space.
Sasa hapa ndo na endeleza beat sasa mnaona.
Space. Space Q.
Naweza izima JAWS ili sisumbue masikio. Muziki watengezwa namna hiyo, basi polepole nikiridhika. Sasa ndio tunarekodi sauti na Batengo, afu nakuja nachanganya mixing, mastering, a new song is born.
With over 2 decades in the music production business, the soft-spoken Kingi has given birth to a number of big names in the Kenyan music scene.
Kuna hao ambao nimeanza nao chini mpaka wakainuka, kama mmoja ambaye mnamfahamu sana Masauti. Huyo tumeanza scratch kabisa mpaka sasa alipo, nashukuru Mungu. Kuna wengine walikuwa tayari washainuka, lakini baada ya kuona kwamba mimi naweza kufanya haya mambo wakanijia kama Ali B.
Key to his success, however, is this lad, Charles Selobi, a helper and an upcoming artist with stage name Amlaki.
Kufanya kazi na Ian, nilianza kazi naye kuanzia 2013.
Kwa miaka 8 sasa hivi. Hivyo unafanya kazi na mzazi Ian, ana changamoto, alafu unakuwa kama mtu ambaye unamsaidia, anasema mwenyewe anakuita macho yake hapa.
Kweli.
Hivi kufanya naye kazi iko vipi bwana?
Kufanya naye kazi mwanzoni pia ilikuwa ngumu, maanake nilikuwa pia sijasomea hizi mambo za production. Anaweza niambia click mahali fulani panaitwa hivi. Sasa hapo press yenyewe unataka amekwambia click, huoni hilo jina lenye amekwambia click.
Amlaki. And then
yakishamaliza kwa beat tunasaidiana hapo, kishamaliza mimi ndo naendelea sasa, naenda kwa Cubase, nabaki na msanii na mrekodi, nafanya vocal sauti na zibalance, kusafisha nini, tunafanya live muziki.
So kule mwisho mzazi baada ya kutengeneza beat na wewe ukianza kurekodi, kazi ya mzazi pale inakuanga gani?
Kazi ya mzazi pale maybe msanii kama akianza kurekodi anaweza mcontrol, kama yeye anakosea, hapo simbe chini, hapa imba juu kidogo, ama hapa imba juu, hapo simbe chini.
Kuna vingi vya kucheze kwenye mwili wangu ila sio moyo, na ni vipi ndajitete nilompenda shochoma moyo, hata machoni mwangu simuoni tena, nabaki nalia na moyo wangu.
The high level of competition is not key among the challenges here, at least according to the duo.
Nafikiri kila mtu ana uwezo wake wa mapishi, na kwa sababu mavuno ni mengi, basi inabidi pia wavunaji wawe wengi. Kwa hiyo yule atakayekuja kwangu fine, atakayeenda kwa mwingine fine, kwa sababu sote hii katika hii industry ya music tunapania kufanya muziki wa Kenya uwe juu. Challenge nyingine ya kimuziki, wengi ambao wanaitwa upcoming wana passion ya music lakini si wana muziki. So atakuletea nyimbo yake lakini ina hitilafu nyingi, au yeye mwenyewe pia hana uwezo wa kuimba.
Interestingly, Kingi, who turns 50 this June, is a live band singer since the early 90s, currently wowing audiences with Asha Sebe in the Liwazo Blind Duo Band. And what is his parting shot?
Teknoloji imefanya kila mtu ahisi anaweza kuwa mwanamuziki, kwa sababu ni kuenda tu studio, hata kama hujui kucheza chombo, basi una vimelodi viwili vitatu na maneno kadhaa, unaenda unatengezewa tu kila kitu. Unaimba, unatiwa tu marembo huko ndani, basi sauti kamili. Sasa kila mtu ameona hii, kumbe hii ndio njia rahisi ya kupata mapato. Basi kila mtu anajaribu hiyo njia, ni kwa sababu watu wameona ndio njia rahisi ya kupata mapato. Lakini kitambo ilikuwa kwa mwanamuziki ni si rahisi, kwa sababu mpaka ujiunge na bendi, nao bendi kukubali mpaka waone uwezo wako, na zilikuwa bendi zenyewe ni chache. Kwa hiyo watu wengi ilikuwa inawakalia vigumu sana kwa wanamuziki, na wakati ule walikuwa na time, maisha yalikuwa rahisi. Kwa hiyo walikuwa wanaweza kudedicate all their time kwa music.
Space Q. Speech on demand.
Kuna vingi vya kucheze kwenye mwili wangu ila sio moyo. Na ni vipi ndajitete nilompenda shochoma moyo.
Visually impaired since childhood, but for 12 years and counting, Kingi Ian Michapo has ruled East African airwaves with his sensational music from Liwazo Records, a clear manifestation of the common saying, disability is not inability. For TV47 from Kembeni, Mombasa County, my name is Julius Juma.
Nina imani nitapata kunifaa. Nina imani nitapata mwingine. Nina imani nitapata kunifaa.
Kuisha. Play tena. Sijakuwa na reactions, nilikuwa nimedanganya naita.
Well, thank you so much, Juma, for that. You always bring out these incredible untold stories, and the sign language interpreter did not disappoint. She had to sing along, so that tells you indeed a beautiful story there. So let's proceed, but to a rather unfortunate one. Following this week's banditry attack in Mukutani area in Baringo South area, or a member of parliament, Charles Cameron, has questioned the national government's agenda to install law and order in the region. According to Cameron, the attack in which a 65-year-old man was killed and a mother and her child wounded just 2 days after the government announced a ceasefire is an indication that the government's peacekeeping plan has failed. Now, the two who are injured in the attack are receiving treatment in the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital in Eldoret.
So there is a lot and serious tension in Mukutane right now. So I want to ask the government, the way you listened to these leaders from Tiati, they requested for a negotiation with their people. In 2 days' time, they have attacked Baringo South Mukutane, including surrounding a police camp, RTU camp, and attacking during the daylight. So who is cheating who? Who is cheating who? The government is being told to give them time to go and negotiate with its people. Then now 2 days they are attacking us. So who is genuine here? Who is being cheated here? So I want to appeal to the government. Let us take this thing seriously. My people need peace. We want peace. These citizens who are bandits right now and they are using guns against the other citizens who are peaceful, can you take these guns? And can you ask these leaders to take the responsibility of what happened yesterday?
Now, more than 10,000 families in Kasarani in Jiro sub-county will be forced to spend the night in the cold after their houses were demolished this morning. Police officers watched on as bulldozers took down the structures in the early morning demolitions. However, the evictees claim that they were neither given eviction notices nor given the reason for the demolitions. They are now calling upon the area elected leaders to intervene.
And I've been here since 1992. This is where we've grown with most of us here. And we have struggled out of a very meager salary or incomes to put our structures. But what is surprising to us today, that the government that we elected must, without any mercies, with a lot of discrimination, they have come, especially when we have a lockdown, and they have decided to just pull down our structures.
Tractor inakuja saa 9 usiku, inabomolewa, watoto wako kwa nyumba. Hii si kitu mzuri. Mwingine mama mzee 83 years old ana faint juu ya kubomolewa. Then elected leaders like MCAs hawako hapa, alafu unasikia mtu anataka tumpatie 5 tena. What do you mean? Hawa MCA uko wapi? MP uko wapi? Masi uko wapi sahi? Tunaumia, wananchi wanaumia. Alafu unapiga kampeni zako. Hatutakubali kama kitu kama hiyo.
Sisi tumekaa kama wakimbizi. Tukae